Words. Words break reality into pieces, creating illusions of isolated things out of an actual singularity. Ideas behind words take on a significance of their own. Volume 5 pieces expose words and ideas as artificial, to reveal the interrelated oneness, which is the essence of the reality you encounter. Words. The first focus here is on words themselves. You use them all the time, every day, in thinking and communicating. But do words really specify the meaning you have in mind? Let's just see. The Essence of Reality explores how the psyche which you are creates the reality you encounter. So hello, you found the Essence of Reality, a unique look at how life actually works. Here we view beyond standard thinking to see how you attract elements of your life and thus create your own customized version of it. It's all about awareness, and that is only ever diminished by beliefs and common notions. We do have much to cover, so enjoy this episode and come back again. Words. What would we do without them? In terms of communication, gestures can only go so far. Well, that's about it for gestures. Words and language are pretty much essential to communicate most anything. I could explain how algebra and calculus work, societal causes of World Wars I and II. I could explain how to bake bread from home-ground flour or the function of an automatic transmission. Words are needed to do those things. I could tell you about words themselves, how nouns symbolize things and verbs are used to denote action or being, how adverbs and adjectives modify nouns for clarity and differentiation. To do that, I would need words just to explain words. But words, especially when I'm using them to communicate an advanced awareness of the nature of life, of reality, carry some fixed and unavoidable limitations, and that is what Volume 5 will explore. The illusory qualities of various specific words and the ideas they represent. This first issue will look at words themselves with the major caveat: if you don't recognize the limitations of words in communicating ideas, you will be fooled by fallacies woven into both the word and the idea. Tom Nair here. I speak from a unique standpoint. I've spent years clearing away deceiving ideas to achieve what I call clear awareness. Life works well when you see that you alone drive yours. So these videos are intended only to help you see past common misconceptions to recognize how life actually works. And the greatest of misconceptions occurs at the heart of human communication, confusing a word for the designated object it is intended to represent. The word, you see, is not the thing. To illustrate that, let's focus on nouns, names of things. But the same illusory effect applies in all words: verbs, modifiers, prepositions, and even conjunctions and interjections, as they all describe elements of experienced reality, whether being or action. Once you've registered in your mind that a word is a thing, the thing so designated takes on a fixed nature, which appears to be totally equivalent with the reality of that item. But it isn't. The word, stored securely in your subconscious and its interrelated belief structure, appears unchanging and seems fixed in the registry of your mind. But the object, regardless of the nature of that object, is not at all a fixed quantity. Let's explore two significant ways in which a word deceives the mind in its use to designate an object. First is how an object, the item designated by the word, exists only really within its context. Second is that any and all objects constantly change. Once we see that clearly, we'll show exactly how that deceives you in the recognition of reality and your own place in it. Pretty significant stuff to be coming out of mere words, don't you think? Well, we do tend to get deep here. You might have noticed that. Okay, my first point, an object exists only within its context, surrounded by and interdependent on its environment. Let's look at a horse. Un cheval in French, ein Pferd in German. Same item, different words. Everybody is familiar with horses, big strong animals able to thrive in the wild, adaptable to working in the fields, in farming or riding for pleasure, or competing in races and rodeos. We all have a clear image of a real horse in mind when I use that word. But if I take a horse out of its normal context, the field or natural area it typically occupies, does it remain a horse? Well, let's retrofit our sample horse onto the Fra Mauro highlands of the moon. What does it then become virtually instantly? Yeah, that's right, a dead lump of unviable organic matter, and soon to be a desiccated mass of long-chain molecules. In any case, practically instantly no longer a horse. Indeed, take virtually any of Earth's vast array of life forms and pull them out of context into an environment unsuited to their needs, oxygen and food. Poof! The word no longer applies. Same object, different word is needed. The same can be said for any machine, basically any thing. Take a chair and place it 1 kilometer up in the air. In short order, it isn't a chair anymore. Take an engine and don't give it any fuel. It's just a piece of metal. Take a rock and put it in the middle of a stream. It starts to change immediately. Take a piece of cake and put it into your mouth and chew it for a few seconds. What is it now? The point. All items require their context to retain some semblance of their named being. A horse is not a horse without its environment. No object is replete by itself, in and of itself, in reality. But the word implies that it is. But hey, what about the second point? Is that object actually real and fixed even as it is? That horse in the comfy confines of a grassy field, content within a small herd, well cared for, is it a fixed thing, complete unto itself? If you take a snapshot, look at it for just an instant, it might seem so. But all things exist within an unfolding process of change. A horse doesn't just stand there indefinitely posing for your snapshot regard. It moves around, it eats grass and inhales air all the time. It sweats and eliminates waste. It sheds some of its hair and skin constantly. At what point then does the grass cease to be its own thing with its own name, grass, and become horse? When it enters its mouth? Or gets swallowed? Or do its fine particles of nutritional matter have to be absorbed into the blood to become horse material? Or be taken into a cell? When does an oxygen molecule from the air become horse? Is a hair part of the horse? Or does it become non-horse when it's shed, turning magically into horsehair rather than horse? And the horse itself. Today it's a tad older than it was yesterday. If it's a colt just growing, it'll be stronger today than before. If it's older, it will lose a tiny bit of vitality. That's the way of all things. Yet you called it a horse last week and will do so until it dies. So the word designates something that doesn't really exist. The horse is not a thing, but a changing essence. It exists only within its context. And it changes constantly, even from moment to moment. So does every living thing. And if you look closely, so does every object in existence. Change, at the very least on a molecular level, positional basis, or temperature scale, change is the only guaranteed property of all things. No thing exists as the word designates. Creating a word to delineate some object or other only creates a generality, an image in the mind, an illusion. No two horses are the same, no two rocks, no two trees, no two people. Yet we apply the same word to all individual variations in each category. So my point, what's going on in reality is different than what words depict. One consequence of that is that you create in your mind impressions of what you are and the world you encounter. But that impression, that mind image, that world view isn't accurate. Neither you, nor your friends, nor your accumulated stuff, nor houses, nor cars, nor trees, nor mountains are the solid, enduring items you imagine them to be. What I'm doing here in all of my videos, my books, and other communication is using words to help you see through that illusion, past the synthetic view of existence generated by equating aspects of reality to the word used to refer to it. My mission is to help you see life as it actually is, beyond the words needed to discuss it. That's about it for gestures. Words and language are pretty much essential to communicate most anything. But words, especially when I'm using them to communicate an advanced awareness of the nature of life, of reality, carry some fixed and unavoidable limitations. That is the illusory qualities of various specific words and of the ideas they represent. Two significant ways in which a word deceives the mind in its use to designate an object. First is how an object, the item designated by the word, exists only really within its context. All items require their context to retain some semblance of their named being. No object is replete by itself, but the word implies that it is. Second is that any and all objects constantly change. The word designates something that changes constantly, even from moment to moment. No thing exists as the word designates. Creating a word to delineate some object or other only creates a generality, an image in mind, an illusion. Neither you, nor your friends, nor your accumulated stuff, nor houses, nor cars, nor trees, nor mountains are the solid, enduring items you imagine them to be. The word, you see, is not the thing. You see life as it actually is, beyond the words needed to discuss it.